Well, hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10, where I cover our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. And today we are going to review and react to the Week 4 matchup that saw our Saints travel to Buffalo and lose once again, this time to the Buffalo Bills. Final score 31-19. Anybody that watched the game knows that it was a pretty good game, pretty close. We end up losing by double digits, and that's never good on the ledger. But if you watch the game, you know that the Saints were competitive, and for a good portion of the game, we were actually in it. So, was it the best team in the league versus the worst team in the league? It might have been. And the Saints put up a good fight, but came up short. Came up short in the end. They seem to come up short on offense and on defense quite a bit. And yeah, at this point, we're just waiting for this team to figure out a way to finish. Now, it's going to be a tall task to go into Buffalo and beat the AFC uh, favorite. They were undefeated. We were winless. They continue to be undefeated. We continue to be winless. The line score, well, when I see the 14 points in the first quarter, I think same old Saints. But I see that 7 points for the Saints offense in the first quarter, and I think, hey, we managed to score on the first drive. Wasn't that something? That kind of makes it a different game when you've actually put points on the board. So we creep into the second quarter. We manage a field goal. And in the second quarter, the Bills only gained, I think, 5 yards total. We managed to pin them down deep in their area, and we managed to get them off the field, including an interception. Great play by Jonas Sanker, which we're all going to remember. I don't know if any of us remember what happens to the Saints offense after that interception. We go three and out and have to punt the ball. So that's what I'm talking about. This team seems to get close, but they can't finish. So you can't score early in games. You manage to turn a corner, you score early. You've got this team on the ropes. You're in the red zone. It's 14-10. The half's about to end. You have a chance to go up 17-14 before halftime. And if that would be the case, wow, this is a game that the Saints are winning. Instead, we do the Philadelphia special, which I don't guess the play call all in itself was bad. I feel like we should have just ran the ball. But I guess they were being pretty tough there in the red zone, and we decided to be, trickery. And if it weren't for a great play by the defensive back Cole Bishop, then perhaps it's an easy touchdown, and we're calling Kellen Moore a genius. But the ball does get intercepted. Cole Bishop seemed to be the only one to figure out what the heck was going on. He makes a great play on the ball. Yeah, and drive stalls. So we go into halftime down 14-10. And at the time, I thought because it was intercepted that, we gave up a play. We ran a play in the red zone we shouldn't have ran. It didn't work. Of course, like I said, if it would have worked, he would have been a genius. I feel like Chris Olave knew not to throw the ball if it was covered. He probably saw that it wasn't covered for a split second. As soon as Olave gets the ball, he throws it. And I think Cole Bishop was in a good position. Was it a good enough position to say, hey, the guy's covered? I don't know. Personally, I think I would have told Olave, if there's anyone there at all, you just tuck and run. That's what I was thinking. So that didn't happen. We go in the halftime down 14-10. And in the third quarter starts, we manage a couple of people. No, we got a touchdown. We just missed the 2-point conversion. Well, what happened was Buffalo scored a touchdown first. So we're down 21-10. We score a touchdown, it's 21-16. Instead of going for the extra point, we go for two. We don't get it, but we get another chance, Down 21 to 16, we have another chance. And yeah, we miss on a wide open Brandon Cooks. Spencer Rattler's just a little off with his accuracy, and that's been Rattler's situation the whole time he's been a quarterback. I feel like he's about 3 feet off on his accuracy, about 3 feet, which is just enough to make it inconvenient for the wide receiver. It's either a little low or a little high or a little behind. And yeah, did Brandon Cooks catch the ball? Nobody's sure. I don't think we had conclusive evidence it was called a touchdown. And for a split second, the Saints were ahead, 22-21. But they decided to overrule the touchdown, even though there wasn't conclusive evidence. Saints have to settle for a field goal. And at that point, it's 21-19. And then, yeah, that's when that mantra of finish that the Sean Payton Saints had, finish, yeah, we couldn't do it. Couldn't do it on offense at the end of the half. Couldn't do it on defense. Buffalo goes down, scores another touchdown. They add a field goal, and, it's a runaway game at that point. 31-19, final score. We didn't get embarrassed. It felt like we belonged on the field. I don't know if we played like the worst team in the league against the Bills. So I'm not sure if it was number one versus number 32 or not. Is it a moral victory? Yeah. Doesn't count in the win-loss column, but it's a moral victory because the way we played against Seattle was so embarrassing. I didn't even bother to put the stats there. I'll show you the stats for this game because we did okay overall. And we'll talk about where we failed, of course. Here's the offensive stats. Spencer Rattler was 18 of 27 for 126 yards, one touchdown. Once again, Spencer Rattler's avoiding the turnover, but we're not hitting on the big plays. There have been some big plays that are open, and Spencer just checks it down or he takes off running. He's been doing good with his feet. Overall, I'd say Spencer Rattler's been fine. If you look at his overall numbers, which we'll do later on this week, um, they look pretty good, but you're not getting a lot of yards. And I don't know. It's a combination of everything. Kellen Moore is calling deep shots. Defenses are taking it away. Kellen Moore's calling deep shots. Some of them come open. Spencer Rattler doesn't have time to throw it. Sometimes they come wide open and Spencer Rattler just doesn't see it. All of this combined, not to mention wide receivers dropping balls, tight ends dropping balls. It's a combination of everything. I can't point to Spencer Rattler or Kellen Moore and say it's their fault totally. It's a combination, but it's not happening. And when you have 18 completions and you only have 126 passing yards, it's embarrassing. You're averaging more per carry than you are per pass attempt. Kind of makes you wonder why we just don't run the ball 60 times. But like I said, you're not losing because of Rattler, but you're certainly not winning because of him. And that's a conversation for another video, perhaps later on this week. Subscribe to the channel, Rosenfield 10, and we'll talk about the Saints. You let me know what you think in the comments. Running the ball, we finished the game with 34 carries for 189 yards. 189 yards, 5.6 yards a carry with a touchdown. And it came from everybody, Alvin Kamara had 15 carries for 70 yards, average of 4.7. That's really good. Kendre Miller, 11 carries for 65 yards. That's an average of 5.9 yards a carry. That's really good. That's some good stuff there. Kendre Miller looked great as a running back. He got a volume, 11 carries. Most of the time, he only averages 5, maybe 6 touches a game. So you get his carries up and he looks good. Last week, Kendre Miller did not look very good returning kicks. I didn't think so. And we'll get to special teams in a second. But this week, Kendre Miller ran the ball tough. He always does. Our offensive line was healthy for the first half, and that could have been something. That could have been a reason why we were running the ball so well. Also, we were playing the worst run defense in the league, so that could have helped as well. Spencer Rattler ran the ball 6 times for 49 yards. That's 8.2 a carry. That's right around what I thought our quarterbacks would do if they were able to tuck and run or if we had design runs for them. Um, that's some good production. Almost 50 yards rushing from Rattler. That's why you have such a huge number. So great from Kamara, great from Miller, great from the offensive line, run blocking, great for Rattler, getting yards when he does run. A couple of those runs, though, like I said, they were players open deep. Rattler had to run for his life, or he didn't see it, or whatever. Shaheed also had 2 carries for 5 yards. Guess we got to keep him honest. Kendre Miller with the big rushing touchdown, and that's how your run game looks so good. Receiving, Rashid Shaheed leads the team, 4 catches for 47 yards. He was targeted 5 times, had 4 catches. I can handle that. Juwan Johnson, 3 catches for 28 yards. He was targeted 3 times. You target Johnson 3 times, he catches 3 balls. Good. I'd like to see him targeted a lot more. He was the most targeted tight end in the league, one of the most targeted tight ends going into the game. Now, the reason why I liked Cole Bishop as a safety coming out of college was I thought his ability to cover tight ends was good. I didn't watch all of the tape. I'm not sure how Juwan Johnson was effectively taken out of this game, but I envisioned Cole Bishop as a nickelback or a safety that could play in the box. He could do some of that mixed match stuff, and you keep him down low covering tight ends. Perhaps that's part of the reason Juwan wasn't successful in this game. Brandon Cooks was targeted 4 times. He caught 3 for 22, and of course the one he didn't catch could have been a catch. Didn't have conclusive evidence that it wasn't a catch. Could have been a touchdown. Chris Olave, the Saints' #1 wide receiver, and I'm going to harp on this guy now. 6 targets, 3 catches for 20 yards. He dropped one, a sideline pass, beautiful pass by Rattler. Like I said, he's very accurate on the sideline. Got the ball out quick. Olave needs to put his head up, turn around, catch that ball. You don't juggle it. This isn't a damn tryout for the circus. Chris Olave is not a #1. How much would you pay Chris Olave? If he wanted a new contract right now, how much would you pay him? I got my number capped at 16 million. That's what he's going to cost next year if we keep him on this roster and he plays with his 5th-year option. It'll be around 16 million. That's as high as I'm going with Chris Olave. It might be too much. You just need that when you're targeted 6 times. I know the quarterback is inaccurate sometimes, but a #1 wide receiver has a ball hit him in the hands. He needs to come down with it. 6 targets, you should have 4 or 5 catches, not 3 for 20 yards. However, Olave scored a touchdown in the second half. I'm just here to say if you could get a second round pick by trading Olave and you can go attack wide receiver in the draft or in free agency and get a guy with size, I think it'll be an upgrade. I think whoever's opposite of the guy with size can be either Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed. Pick one. I don't care. Olave's a consistent route runner and he can be pretty good at times, but he's dropping balls. Rashid doesn't drop that many balls. Rashid's not nearly as good of a route runner. But yeah, either one of those guys as my #2, I'm fine with. And I'm not paying both of them 20 million, 25 million a year. I'm going to get a big wide receiver, and I'm going to say right now, this is probably the biggest need for this team. And we'll talk about quarterback and everything else in a future video. But I got to say, this is depressing to me. When your #1 receiver has 6 targets and only 3 catches for 20 yards, it bothers me. It's not the biggest problem, but it could be a huge solution. Chris Olave, we keep thinking Chris Olave has so much ability. He can one day be a number one. He's been in the league 4 years now, and we know what he is. If he stays completely healthy, he'll get you 1,000 yards. He might find the end zone 4 or 5 times. I think we need more consistency. We need a bona fide number one wide receiver. I don't know if you get that just by going grab a big body in the draft. Are you going to get that trading for Devon Vele? I don't know, but we're going to have to see. I think it's a big difference. I watched Denver play last night, and you have a big wide receiver. You know, Sean Payton always loved his big number one wide receivers. You got a big guy like Cortland Sutton, and it just makes the rest of the offense just run so smooth. He's got Marvin Mims running around out there, being the Reggie Bush type, the X Factor type. He's got a couple of really good receivers opposite of Sutton, and yeah, they're churning away. They scored 28 points last night, man. The Saints, if we could average a touchdown a quarter and score 28 points a game, we'd be doing pretty good. Seems like we leave a lot of meat on the bone on this offense. Tight end Jack Stoll had 1 target, 1 catch, 7 yards. And Alvin Kamara, this is another one. 5 targets, 4 catches, 2 yards. Man, we are really scheming Kamara open here, huh? No, not really. My God, that's a waste of plays right there. 5 plays where you target Kamara and you only end up with 2 yards. That's a lot of missed opportunities. So yeah, I'm bummed out about the offense. It seems like we can get something going. We show we can move the ball. We can run the ball good. We're good at the short game and we can move the ball. We start so many drives in Buffalo's territory and come away with nothing. Field goal, missed opportunities in the red zone, drop balls, just inaccurate passes. It just seems like this team is rebuilding. And you get these hopes of these glimmers of, oh, if they can just finish that drive. We were so close to winning 3 of these games. We lost this one by 12 points. Were we really that close? It seemed like Buffalo was playing with their food for a while there. Yeah, he scored 14 points in the first quarter. They let their foot off the gas. Then they got into some trouble when they couldn't get anything done in the second quarter. They decided they better get it back in gear, and they did. They passed the ball and ran the ball down the field. They scored pretty quick in the second half when they finally did score. It was almost like they were playing with their food, and they almost lost. Of course, I don't know. I don't know. If the Saints do take the lead in this game before halftime, does it change Buffalo's play calling? Do they decide to quit playing with their food and come out in the second half and really whip us? And like I said, we were close again in the third quarter. We were pretty close. But that fourth quarter just got away from us. I mean, you're trying to play catch up and the defense is allowing too much. Defense looked great in the second quarter. It's just like everything else. You look good for a couple of quarters, you look bad for a couple of quarters. Can we just be okay instead of bad? Because I think letting Buffalo score 17 points in the second half, that's letting your team down as a defense. You have one shutout quarter. Congratulations. The quarter before you allowed 14 points. Our team can barely score 14 points. So you're almost out of it right out of the gate. If it wasn't for the offense scoring 7 points in the first quarter, you might have checked out early like you did with Seattle. Offense scores every quarter, but they can only manage 2 touchdowns. Let's pull up the defensive stats. And when your cornerback's leading the team in tackles, it's not a good sign. Kool-Aid McKinstry, once again. Is this guy a pure man corner and can't handle this mostly zone defense? Is he having a hard time with this mixed match concept? Is he having a hard time with this defense? Because Kool-Aid McKinstry he's obviously having a sophomore slump. And when you look pretty good, not great, but okay in your first year, playing half the year, and then you come out your second year, you look great practice in the off season, and then you have this sophomore slump during the regular season. Is there a chance Kool-Aid turns it around? Is there a chance our defense has the players that can do this and they come around to doing it, or do we need pieces on this defense? I think it's pretty obvious we need pieces on this defense that actually fit this defense. And we have a lot of players out there right now struggling. Maybe McKinstry makes the transition. 7 total tackles. That means he allowed a catch and then made a tackle. That's what that means to me. Tied with him, 7 total tackles, is Demario Davis. He also had 1 tackle for a loss. Davis had a missed tackle, maybe a couple. It wasn't Davis's greatest moment, but good players have bad days. Still leading the team in tackles. Carl Granderson, another solid day. Grando was MIA last week, but he's back again. 5 total tackles. He had a sack. He had 2 tackles for loss and a quarterback hit. Grando's being active. We're not consistent enough on that defensive line with the pass rush. I mean, we got after him pretty good in the second quarter, but yeah, this needs to be a constant thing all through the game. And without Chase Young, we're not quite sure what our pressure package could actually be. But Grando's solid. Jonas Sanker, 5 total tackles, 3 passes defensed, 1 interception. Jonas Sanker is everyone's player of the game. And yeah, after starting 2 games at safety, I think Jonas Sanker is the answer at safety. He's also very young. You're going to have to suffer with the bumps and bruises. To go along with those 5 total tackles, he had 5 missed tackles. And you don't care. You don't care because he got an interception and we know he can play the position. He made a play. He forced the fumble last week. No, that was Quincy Riley that forced the fumble last week. Jonas Sanker made a play with the interception. He is making tackles. But I gotta say, he missed 5. So greatest player on the field? I've heard people say that. Jonas Sanker was the best player on defense for the Saints. Okay, maybe. Best player on the field? With Josh Allen on the other sideline? I don't think so. Jonas Sanker's got a ways to go. He needs to clean that up. He was not known as missing tackles coming out of college. So I think he's putting himself in position. He's just getting it all together. I'm not going to fault him for the 5 missed tackles. I'm just not going to crown him as the greatest player on the field. It's just not true. Sanker's great. You keep him in the starting lineup. Now, opposite of Sanker is Justin Reed. And yeah, I think at this point, if we had Blackman and Reed, you might be putting Sanker in for Reed. Do we re-sign Julian Blackman? We might. Your starting safeties next year might be Blackman and Sanker. I like Reed. I like Reed for his leadership and as a backup. Cam Jordan had 4 total tackles. He had a sack. He had a tackle for a loss. He had a quarterback hit. That's much better than 1 tackle, which he had last week. So Cam Jordan, yeah, he needs to take some rests every now and then. It'd be nice to have Chase Young on this team play it. The infamous calf. The aforementioned Quincy Riley. Quincy got a lot of playing time. He got more playing time than Isaac Yiadom. So what happened is Isaac Yiadom started the game, and within the first quarter and a half, we decided we've had enough. And we put Quincy Riley in there. And Riley ends up with 4 tackles. And I think that's what we should be doing going on. Isaac Yiadom is another one of those guys. He's caught in a position where I think he's a good man coverage, corner, and he's not figuring this defense out. Perhaps you keep him on the team as your 4th cornerback, some veteran depth, but he needs a couple more weeks to figure this out because Yiadom hasn't been looking good at all. Riley, yeah, I think you start Riley next week, opposite Kool-Aid McKinstry, and let's see what happens. Alontae Taylor, 4 total tackles. He's not giving you the big plays. from the star position, Alontae Taylor's not giving you the big plays. I'm hoping he grows into this. I think the problem is he just didn't practice all off season, so now he's back out there and playing, and it's another one of those things. Do we have the player that we need for this defense? They're working out the kinks. I mean, I think McKinstry's a good player. He's just got to figure it out. I think that Alontae Taylor is a good player, and he just needs to figure this defense out. I'm still of the belief that Isaac Yadam can be a good backup man cover guy. I just saw too many good things a couple of years ago from him, but it's not working in this defense. Pete Werner, there's another one, a really good player, and he's a good player. We signed him to a big contract. He's not a difference maker, but he's better than every other linebacker that we wanted to put in there. We didn't put in Zach Baun. Is he better than Zach Baun? I don't know. I watched Zach Baun this past weekend. He's all right. He's just all right. Pete Werner's had a bad game. Like every other game, Pete Werner has a bad game. So he drops an interception in this one. He's a linebacker. Okay. So I'm not going to fault him. Could have made a difference. Much like Spencer Rattler. Pete Werner's a good player. You might not be losing games because of him, but he can't come up with a big play. I have faith in Rattler. I have faith in Werner. But maybe Werner's another one of those guys that is just out of position in this defense. I think that linebacker spot should be manned by somebody who has a bit of safety skill as well. Isaiah Stallberg, a guy that was a safety and a linebacker. I think Stallberg would fit pretty good in this defense, right where Werner's at. I know everyone wants Danny Stutzman, and we all imagine Danny Stutzman being the eventual replacement for Demario Davis. A lot of y'all right now want to see Demario Davis and Danny Stutzman and just sit Pete Werner. I can't argue with that. But I think ultimately whoever's going to play linebacker in this defense is going to have to be good in coverage too. If you're dropping back 15 yards and expecting to cover a wide receiver, then yeah, you might need a tweener, safety linebacker type. So Werner finishes with 3 total tackles and a dropped interception. Okay. Brian Bresee, a defensive tackle, 3 total tackles. He had a sack. He had a tackle for a loss. He had a quarterback hit. He finally got the quarterback down. Our sack leader from last year finally gets a sack. And he wasn't that bad against the run. Well, we were pretty bad against the run. We allowed 120, we had allowed 165 yards rushing total, over 120 from the running back. We allowed 5.2 yards a carry as our run defense. So when I hear Brian Bresee had an okay game against the run, 5.2 a carry, okay. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. It's about time, Bresee. It's about time you got a sack. Let's try adding a couple more of those next week, please. Try to earn your keep. Pete Werner, same thing. Why don't you have 10 tackles, catch that interception, and you're the player of the game? But instead, you're not a playmaker. We're missing playmakers. We have good, competent football team players that aren't playmakers. That's what it feels like. Isaac Yadam, 3 total tackles. Yeah, he got burned a bunch in the first half, and yeah, we sat him after that. Nathan Shepard, 3 total tackles, 2 quarterback hits. Good job, I guess, overall. Chris Rumpf, in a spot duty, had 2 total tackles, a pass defense, and quarterback hit. That pass defense was the ball that went right into Werner's breadbasket. Velus Jones Jr. had 2 total tackles, special teams tackles, which is good. Led the team, also tied with Danny Stutzman, who had 2 total tackles on special teams. And there you go. That's the defensive stats. So overall, I think that the offense showed some stuff. I think the defense showed some stuff, but it was all inconsistent. The offense can't finish. We still can't get over that red zone hump. We still can't get over that inability to score touchdowns. Instead, it's settling for field goals. you get the ball like 3 times in a row in the Bills' side of the field and you come up with 3 points, 6 points, just that's not going to cut it. You need a couple of touchdowns in there. This game, we could have won this game. It could have been 17-14 at halftime, Saints, and that changes everything. They get up to 21 points, but you've got 17 instead of 10. Less desperation. That Philly special play to me felt like a desperate play call. It's like a team that we can't do it. We can't figure it out running the ball. We can't figure it out passing the ball. Let's do a trick play. No, there was perfect coverage. Everybody, the defense we had was there. The whole play worked great. If it wasn't for Cole Bishop making a phenomenal play, then yeah, we score a touchdown there, and we're calling Helen Moore a genius. On special teams, I thought it was interesting. They kicked the ball to Velus Jones every time, and this year every team's been kicking to Kendre Miller every time. And last week against Seattle, Miller got all of the kick returns, and Miller was running straight to the first guy there. The first guy that could make the tackle, it looked like he was running right to him, not making his mind up which way he wanted to go. I don't think he feels like he has the speed to break it around the edge. What are you doing? You're running right at the guy, thinking, well, I'll just break this tackle. I don't know. Just go back and watch it if you can stomach it against Seattle. I thought it was awful. So why Buffalo decided to kick to Velus Jones is kind of beyond me. I mean, maybe they think Miller's a special guy and he can break a tackle and take it. Miller's not fast enough for you to worry about the touchdown return as a kickoff. I think the Bills were kicking to Velus Jones Jr. because he has a history of fumbling. So perhaps they were trying, to knock the rust off of him and see what you could do. It didn't work. Velus Jones ended up with an average of 26.8 yards a return, which is pretty decent. Blake Grupe was 2 for 2 on field goals. That's great. Kai Kroger had an incredible punt inside the 5. He had 2 inside the 20. And but he had 3 punts total, and the third one, I think that one went in the end zone. It was a touchback. I can't fault Kruger. We That was his best punt of the year so far. The one that was down at the 3. Yeah. So overall special teams, can't fault him. Didn't miss field goal. However, we did run into the punter. We roughed the punter. I heard it was Nefi Sewell that did it on the broadcast as the game was playing. They had flashed that it was Jalen Ford that ran into the punter, but the coverage I heard after the game was that it was Nefi Sewell. So either way, you're trying to make a point. You're trying to make a play because you're down by 2 scores, and it's such a close play. You know, you hit the ball, you can crash into the punter, no problem. You just missed the ball, you got to avoid the punter. This is a guy that's on our practice squad trying to make this play on special teams. I don't know. It sucks because that's a moment right there where you just don't rush the punter at all, get the ball back. But instead you try to make a play, you screw up, Buffalo keeps the ball. They go down the field and score. So that was the only issue I had on special teams. Biggest problem for me in the game was missed tackles. And yeah, our inability to finish, our inconsistency on defense and on offense. We're not a very good team. I feel like we're a better coach team this week than we were last week. So I'm a little more optimistic about the coaching. Our run defense is still an issue. And yeah, our inability to score points, man. Are we ever going to have a 3-4 touchdown game? and lead the game and be in control. When you run the ball 34 times for 189 yards, that is winning football if you have more points than the other team. We have this issue of not being able to take a lead. We've only led 4 minutes in this entire season. First game of the year, for about 4 minutes, we had the lead on Arizona, and after that, that's it. And even the worst mathematician knows that you're not going to win the game if you can't take a lead. So, some other numbers of interest. We held Buffalo to 3 of 10 on third down. Pretty good. We were 5 of 13 on third down. Not very good. Fourth down, they were 0 for 1. We were 0 for 2. In the red zone, they scored 2 out of 3 touchdowns in the red zone. We scored 2 out of 4. Could have been 3 out of 4 if that Philly special would have worked. And penalties. This is where the Saints did really good. This is where your moral victory comes in. We only had 4 penalties for 41 yards, and the only penalty that wasn't on special teams was an intentional grounding. The other one was running into the kicker. The other one was a block in the back on a return. And then Blake Grupe once again missed the target zone on the kickoff, which is something he did really well in the offseason and in preseason. But he's done it 2 weeks in a row now where he's missed the landing zone. So, but other than that, 4 penalties total. Hey, 2 in the first half, 2 in the second half. Only 1 by your quarterback, which was intentional grounding. None by your defense. No pre-snap penalties, no offsides, no false starts. Can they keep this up? If they only average 4 penalties a game for the rest of the year, then we're doing that. At least we've corrected that. And if we commit to the run and we have this much success, 5.6 yards a carry, you kind of just you run the ball twice, you have a first down. I know the ebb and flow and everything else. I'm just saying, there's no need to throw the ball 30 something times if you're running the ball that good. But it's better to run the ball and be in control when you have a lead. And the Saints just don't know how to take a lead. So, once again, just like week 1 and week 2, we're close. Week 3 against Seattle, hopefully that is an aberration. And this is the kind of team we see. We're still losers. We're still 0 and 4. And I don't think the Saints fans care that much. I think the Saints fans want the first pick in the draft. I don't think they know what they want. You let me know in the comments what you want. If this team continues to lose and we have the first pick in the draft, what do you want? Oh, please tell me. Spencer Rattler fans, please tell me what you want. Tyler Shuck fans, tell me what you want. People that think we need a quarterback, tell me what you want. It's weird. But subscribe to this channel because we will be talking about college players. We are going to always look at the offseason for this team, especially when they play this poorly. And yeah, I like that the coaches were able to get the team focused to play another road game, except look a lot better, to eliminate the penalties, and to be slightly more consistent on offense, commit to the run game. And even though our defense is hot and cold, we got a good quarter out of them. Let's just keep building on it and see what happens next. Subscribe to this channel. I will have a preview of the upcoming game in the Dome versus the New York Giants. And that preview will come out on Thursday. I'll have another video on Thursday. Maybe we'll talk about the quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler. I love diving into positions of need for the team. And right now, it looks like the draft may be an early focus for me. Might do a way too early mock involving trades. The trade deadline's going to be coming up here in the next month or two, and If we keep losing, then it could be part of the rebuild. And I think I might do a video on that, talking about players we could trade, what we could get for them, and how you can turn that into another decent draft class. So subscribe. I haven't gained a new subscriber in months. It's because my videos are awful, right? No, you think it's okay. Subscribe to my channel. Keep me there and come back to me when you want. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?